All right, let's go. What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode. Kendall, this episode is gonna be kind of interesting, kind of controversial. I think I want to call it a segment that we like to call Real Talk. We ain't talking about that yet, but
For
let's
sure.
get to this episode. Kendall, roll the intro.
Last time that I checked, it was 5 chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, it was in the set. Make a $250,000, no sweat. Last time that I checked, I'm the streets voice out west. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first the money, the respect, and the power come next. Last time that I checked, I've been self-made from the dribble. I was been saying I'm a
Play.
Hey man.
I'll sing the song, man. Go ahead.
Hey man, we just want to say welcome back again to another episode of this podcast, the Wild Card Podcast. All right, man. We got a great show. We got a great topic. HBCU athletics, retaining prominent athletes in the transfer portal era. And we've seen a lot of athletes from a lot of different schools in the SWAC, the MEAC, wherever, and whatever HBCU conference you want to talk about, leave to go to other schools, PWIs. And the question we got is, how do we retain them? How do we keep them? And that's a tough question to ask. I think it's a very complex situation, complex question. And we've seen probably the biggest example in Jackson State with Coach Deion Sanders leaving, taking, Shador Sanders and a lot of his other players, Travis Hunter, a lot of his other players. And, you think about it and it's like, well, how do we change this? Like how do we keep the appeal at HBCUs to keep our talent that we grow and that we have here? What's the incentive? So, Khalil, I pose that question to you, but, other people can join in as well. What do you think?
So, Kendall, there's no direct answer for this. There's a lot of different avenues you could take for this. We've seen the struggles of Jackson State to retain their players after Coach Prime left. We've seen, even us to a degree, even with the successful season that we had, we still managed to lose players, the likes of Jeremiah Hickson, Ja'Cory Merritt, Bill. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about the transfer portal is it gives us and it takes it away in the same way. So one of the things that the discussion here is how can we help HBCUs in this aspect. But to play devil's advocate early, while it does hurt us, it benefits us almost in the same right. What'd you say?
I didn't say nothing.
No, I said, would you say? Like, would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely think it benefits us. I mean, we've seen some situations, like the top of my head, Alabama State, our school, Coach Eddie Robinson, you get a 4-star quarterback from Auburn. Like that's a big pull for you to get, and then also other guys that you got from Temple, and from other places. Like those are big gets.
Colorado. Yeah.
Those are big gets. So it's like you look at that and you wonder, okay, is it a balance? I don't think it's balanced. I mean, that's.
I mean, do you think that we benefit more than it hurts us?
I don't know, because I feel like say we use like the same situations we've been comparing, Bama State and Jackson State. No, I feel like the exodus of players leaving Jackson State to go not even just to Colorado but other places as well. I feel like that hurts.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And then I mean, yeah, you're bringing in players from other schools to HBCUs, but are all of those guys panning out and all of those guys really there for the right reasons, I guess?
I think that they typically tend to pan out. Do I think that they're for the right reasons? No. But my thing is this, and Coach Maynard of Alabama A&M mentioned this. it's almost like HBCUs are being used as, for lack of a better term, well, I guess the great term, they're being used as JUCOs. It's a watered down JUCO, and it's because obviously players from their transferring in from the Colorados, the New Mexico States, the Alabamas, the Auburns, like you said, with Demetrius Davis.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation now where, okay, let me go here to Alabama State or Jackson State or wherever the case may be and play here for a couple years, hopefully build my reputation back up, and then see throw my name in the portal just to see where it sticks. Isaiah Land did something similar to that. Now, he started at FAMU and was a homegrown FAMU guy, but last year, before his senior year, he entered his name into the transfer portal, and he admitted that he didn't really want to leave FAMU, but he wanted to see what his value was, like where he would rank amongst, getting to a bigger school. Kendall, but it's money. At the end of the day, it's NIL. It's NIL. It's opportunity. But I think it's more NIL opportunity though.
If I could go back to the point that you made about Isaiah, one of the things that I found very interesting when I was looking it up, looking at the whole situation up, is Deion Sanders also commented on it. He had said to Isaiah, I'm pretty sure, I don't think he said it like in person at the time, but it was an interview that he was having, and he said, "Be the change, don't run to the change." Now, that's a great statement. You said what?
MLK type quote? I'm not sure what just happened, y'all. Give me 1 second. He should be back in a second. But to add on to his point, let me hold on. Let me get my train of thought back. Anyways. Yeah, and then he ran. Yeah. Yeah. Kendall in this sense. There he goes. Bear with us, y'all. Bear with us. Okay, bro, get back to your point because you left me in an awkward state. I was about to start a little bit.
My fault.
What happened? The Wi-Fi?
My Chrome just, it just went out. I don't know what happened.
Go back to your point. You talking about Deion Sanders in the
yeah, be the change. Be the change. Don't run to the change. My whole thing, my issue. I don't have an issue with that, but I think it's also it's a hard concept because you're selling players on. You can stay at this HBCU. You can ball out. You can do everything you want to do, and I'm gonna fight for you in Deion's role. I'm gonna fight for you on the other side. So when they're not drafting HBCU players, I'm gonna fight for you. And he did that, but then he left. So the same thing that he told Isaiah, he basically did himself.
Mm-hmm.
And now he had his reasons and whatever.
Yeah,
he had his reasons, whatever. But my biggest problem with that was there were better. The quote that he said, you have to. That takes time. That's not something that's just a quick little thing like that. It takes time. And so my whole thing is you're asking some players to basically mortgage their 4 or 5 years and say, well, you're going to be a part of the change, but you're not going to reap the benefits of the change necessarily.
There's no guarantee tied to staying at HBCU or staying at these universities in general that you're going to get the benefit, like you're saying. There's no promise.
Unfortunately not. I mean, think about some of the best players that we've seen come out of the SWAC, for instance. Akil Glass. Many got him top 10 HBCU quarterbacks of the modern era.
All time.
Exactly. Isaiah Land. People were talking about him best defensive player, especially when FAMU played North Carolina. Like, bro, he's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you looking at it and it's like, where are those guys now? Struggling to get on the team because they definitely weren't drafted. They're struggling to get on the team.
I think the thing that pisses me off to a bigger degree than that is the fact that when we see these NFL drafts, right, or NBA drafts, it's the moment the draft is over, Kendall, the second it's over, what do we see? Cowboys sign Isaiah Land to unrestricted, what is it, an undrafted free agent spot. Buccaneers draft Keenan Isaac to an undrafted free agency roster spot. So you want them, right? But you don't want to, in their case, waste a draft pick on them. These guys want to hear their name called too, just as much as the next man above them. So it's not fair to be and I'm not talking a day after draft, 2 days after draft. I'm talking minutes. As the draft is going on, they're talking about we're going to offer you a spot. So it doesn't click in my head for that in that sense.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because like you said, I mean, you're calling me, right after the draft, but I'm not getting drafted. Like a lot of guys, okay, because there's some guys that don't get drafted that, they have great careers, it's no problem. But being a drafted player, like players want that appeal. A lot of players look forward to, when you think about, all right, I'm gonna play in the NFL, they look forward to shaking the commissioner's hand, holding a jersey, all of that. But it's like at a HBCU, can you really do that? And you said what?
I say it's a struggle. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I guess now that we kind of talked about that though, my question is like, what do we do to make it more appealing? Like, how do you kind of?
Kendall, we talked about this earlier, and as content creators, and I think Swag and the Fool is still in here. Whoever else, whatever content creators in here as well. One of the biggest things, Kendall, is videos, cameras, TVs. Kendall, you are a big advocate on giving every athlete, not only the men, but the women, their shine as well.
For sure.
When we're posting thumbnails, when we're posting highlights. And one of the recent draft picks out of Jackson State was a first round draft pick, the first one in 20 years, Kendall?
So I mean, I think this is a great time to pull up the stuff.
Amisha Holiday we're talking about. And I was looking up her highlights to add her into the video that we just did a couple seconds ago, and you can't find any highlights. We're talking about these players that are drafted there in the NFL, in the NBA, in MLB, and we cannot find any footage of them. So if I'm a high school recruit, and I'm thinking about exposure. If I can't even find any videos of your best players on the internet, what should make me believe that it's going to be any different when I go there?
I mean, you're totally right. I think we can break down, some of this stuff. You want to go NBA or NFL first?
We can go in MLB. This is, I think. Well, my bad. This one. Go ahead. WNBA.
No, I mean, you can talk about it first, and we can,
Like I was saying with Amisha Holiday. Let me get this banner down so I can see these stats. There was a 20-year drought, a 20-year difference when we're looking at the first round picks. And it's great she was a first round pick. But Kendall, the reality set in yesterday, and we were like, okay, she's not on the roster anymore. What is she doing? She's not on the roster anymore.
She played one preseason game.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So stuff like that is just, and it doesn't just happen to HBCU players in WNBA. The WNBA is underfunded, and many players get cut no matter what school you come from. However, that was a historical moment. The first ever WNBA player out of the HBCU going in the first round.
I mean, it was a 20-year drought between picks. Like it had been 20 years since that had happened. Like, but I think even the WNBA is a special case though. I feel like that's kind of different. Obviously, as y'all can see by the stuff that we have, like they've only had 6 players drafted in WNBA history. So, and that's not that long of history. Like we're gonna compare like the NBA and the NFL too. That's a lot longer of history to go. So
like 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, like you said, she was picked. She only lasted what, a couple of months, really,
maybe a month, maybe.
20-year drop between picks, like we just talked about, and then the last player that was drafted before her was Andrea Gardner, and then the highest drafted player is Denique Graves in 1997. So when you look at the WNBA, I feel like that's a special case because it's a lot of players in college, like PWIs, Power Fives, whatever, that can't get into the NBA or WNBA and make it for a long time. So I think that's a different case. But let's go to the NBA then.
Now this was crazy.
351 HBCU players have been drafted in NBA history. Khalil, how many players is it in the NBA right now? Like in totality?
Well, we got 15 roster spots, 30 teams. Let me do the math real quick because I ain't about to say I want to look crazy.
Oh, it's 400.
Oh, my fault.
I thought you.
Nah, bro, no. I ain't
School start back up in a couple weeks, so we'll be all right.
Hey, I don't do math class, brother.
But nah, so 400 players. 400 players is currently in the NBA. Only 351 HBCU players have been drafted in NBA history. And this is from NCAA.com, by the way.
76 years.
So let's look at the last player that was drafted, the last HBCU player drafted overall. It was Kyle O'Quinn in 2012, and he was a second round pick 49. Okay. He was a solid role player, but he wasn't a star.
He was a journeyman.
Yeah, he's a journeyman. But also like 2012, that's 11 years ago. Going on 12.
But Kendall, the thing I want to mention is this: when it comes to NBA, like, and this goes back to the other point is what I made about exposure. Exposure matters. When we're talking about there's HBCU players that have made summer league rosters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another case where they're getting phone calls the day after the draft to be signed to these places. However, I think that players they're more comfortable going to the summer league because there's going to be cameras there. You can relate that back to a high school player choosing an HBCU. There are cameras there. No matter what happens, when you were in Las Vegas a week ago, maybe a couple of days ago, and you got to see all these players on this platform, and they're on TV. Every single game is on TV. You're getting exposed. No matter what happens, it's almost like a 7-on-7 camp. Everybody's getting a fair shake. Everybody getting the same opportunity, and you get to work your way up to make these rosters. And it's all because of cameras. So I think players are more comfortable going to the summer league than going overseas in some cases.
I could agree with you on that.
But that's the point.
I mean, I just feel like if I'm a player, I'm looking at the facts. I mean, we just talked about it. The last first round pick was Carlos Rogers in 94. He's picked 11. This is 2023. That's 30 years ago plus. So it's just I feel like we're at the point now where we're talking about if I'm an HBCU player and I want to play, where am I going to go? Like what's next for me?
I think it's a lot. Not to cut you off real quick. If we had a pipeline school, you know what I'm saying? A school that's just constantly known for putting out NFL product or NBA product, it would be a lot more appealing. And that was Jackson State for a minute, but now we don't have that.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But I mean, you talked about Jackson State. Let's go into football then. Last player that we talked about, Isaiah Bolden already. He was the only player drafted in the 2023 draft, pick 245. We just talked about Isaiah Land, who's a great player. We talked about him being the best player in the SWAC. What about Aubrey Miller? He was there too.
I ain't gonna say that about him, but go ahead.
He's a DPOY though.
Fair.
Regardless of how we feel about it, he's a DPOY, and he didn't get drafted. So it's an issue there. Like those are two of the best players the SWAC has to offer, and they didn't get drafted. So there was a comment that said we had somebody picked in the first round. That's Titus Howard. He was picked. He was picked. Dang, bro, I can't see that.
My bad, bro. My bad.
He was picked 22 or 23 in the 2019 draft. He's the last first round pick. And I mean, he's a lineman. Linemen are very valuable. So, you know, he was a really, really good player though. Like 29, I mean, first round pick, like that's special. 4 players drafted in 2022. That's the most in this decade. And there's 31 players. There were 31 players in this past season on the NFL roster. Again, that goes to my point of how do we make HBCUs more interesting? Like, how do we make them more appealing?
I don't think it's. I think there's a lot of places where the blame lies.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to like already mentioned one reason: cameras and exposure. But you could put the blame on athletic departments not bringing the cameras, not bringing this, not bringing that. You could put the blame on the owners of the NFL or the owners of MLB, all these people, because they're the ones that aren't taking these gambles. But at the same time, why would I be a billionaire if my job is always in jeopardy year to year? If I'm judged on a year-to-year basis, let's say I'm Jerry Jones, I'm a white male owner. Why would I take a gamble on an HBCU player that has no camera time, none of this, none of that? I'm not gonna go look at an Alabama player who's in the rotation, maybe not a starter, but a second string player who's in the rotation who has potential. There's a gamble with it. If you're just to play devil's advocate, I'm not saying this is my train of thought, but I think it's how you have to be realistic how these owners are thinking. Why would I go to the deep south of Montgomery, Alabama, and I would have to go through Alabama, University of Alabama, with Bryce Young, whatever the case may be, down to Auburn? Then I'm still gonna look at A&M, and then Tuskegee, and then so on and so forth. So you got a bunch of top heavy schools within one state before you get to the HBCUs.
You're right.
Not to mention the D2s, because the D2s are still, talk about South Dakota State with Carson Wentz and Trey Lance. They still get more play than we do.
They do. I mean, you're definitely right. I agree with this. I mean, winning and playing competition, but then we go into the route of what's a money game and what's not. Because if you think about it this way, Jackson State, when they had Dion and they had that group, what major competition did they play?
I think the biggest game they played was, I know last year their biggest game was Campbell, and they beat them. But that's not Alabama. That's not Texas A&M. That's not Ben. Why? There's no incentive for either side, Kendall.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I also think, and we keep talking about this type of thing takes time. Like it's not going to be a situation where we just go, okay, we only have one player drafted 1 year, 2, we got 15. It's not going to happen like that because for some reason, they don't look at us the same way. Like you said, you got D2 quarterbacks. Trey Lance was drafted what, number 3?
Yeah, from a D2.
D2 quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. It's one of those things where you can't. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's a negative.
My bad. Go ahead.
It's a negative stigma around HBCU sports in general. They're not looked at as the same. We just talked about a D2. They're not even looked at as the same as a D2 because of the level of competition, which is crazy when you have so many talented players, but if they don't get the opportunity to show it against other competition, then what are you going to do?
I think it's a good time to bring up the MLB. Now, the MLB is a different kind of case because there's more rounds to the draft, more picks. But we had a player that was Omar Melendez who made the Olympic baseball team, played for Team USA this year. And he recently just entered his name in transfer portal, go to Nebraska. And Kendall, we put the camera back on here. I think that's another issue too. You can't tell me that some of these Power 5 coaches are not reaching out. We know I had a conversation with you behind the scenes about a Power 5 coach that was reaching out to one of our players. There's no guarantee that when we do get these big name talents, scratch the high school players, the ones that we build up, the Jeremiah Hickses, the Ja'Cory Merritts, the Arshad Davises. There's no guarantee when we build these guys up that they're not going to stick around because the Power 5s are coming. Like Deion says, we're coming. We're coming to get these guys. And they're not just looking at, they're not just looking at the other, like say the SEC. Nick Saban's not just looking at Georgia. He's not just looking at Florida. He's looking within the state too. Because that's where it starts. Recruiting starts within the state, in your surrounding area. That's why we can't keep, like I said, Ja'Cory Merritt, Jeremiah Hicks. NIL money matters. So I think NIL is the biggest issue now, Kendall. It's the biggest issue.
So far we got what? NIL deals,
exposure,
and draft opportunities.
Are we saying draft opportunities, or are we going to go to the route of players? Well, never mind. Go ahead.
I mean, if I'm a college athlete, or I'm about to be a college athlete, elite, and I'm looking at all three of those things: exposure, draft opportunity, and what was the first one you said?
I forgot. I forgot. Oh well, keep going.
Exposure, draft opportunity, and we'll just go with those two, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah, my fault. Train of thought. My
But yeah, so if I'm looking at those two things, bro, I want to play pro. I'm gonna do what I got to do to play pro. So if that does mean transferring somewhere else, then that's just what it means, unfortunately. So my whole thing is.
But are there guarantees to either side, Kendall? That's the point. Are there guarantees?
It's a better chance. Side? It's a better chance, and we really got to look. We got to look at ourselves and ask us, why is that? For one, exposure is something we all can help with. I don't care who you are. For one, I know one thing. We try to put film together for certain players, this and that. We're doing it based on a couple of YouTubers. A couple of YouTubers that post like highlight tapes of this game or highlight tapes of that game. As far as real game footage, it's for some of these teams, it's just hard to find, or you just can't find it in general. Mm-hmm. Alabama State went to what was it, Prairie View last year?
Yeah, we couldn't even watch the game.
Yeah. How you going to watch the game, or how are you going to get the exposure you want if there's a lot of people that can't even watch games? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, but Kendall, like, that goes back to when I was saying that the blame lies in a lot of different places. There's the conference owners, and I'm not going to say commissioners because I don't feel like the commissioners are wanting to negotiate these deals. You have to get TV deals. You have to strike up TV deals. I know we're ESPN right now, but obviously ESPN not getting the job done for us. I mean, I'm not saying they're not trying, but there must be another platform out there. A Fox, maybe an ABC. I don't want to say BET, but a BET, what we gotta do BET. That's just what we gotta go back to the early 2000s. But whatever you gotta do, there's no reason every single week I should not be able to find at least one HBCU game is on TV. At least one. I'm not saying there should be 2 or 3 or 4. I would love for there to be 2, 3, or 4. But if we can't get one, if I can't find the Majesty Classic, because for one, the Majesty Classic, ESPN has it, right? Mm-hmm. This is how I remember. ESPN has the Classic, but they don't show it until the wee hours of the night, midnight, after the game, 11 o'clock at night. Who's watching the game at 11 o'clock at night? They're showing it in reruns. They're not showing the actual live game. So why should they care? What NFL owner or NFL scout is going to stay up at 11 o'clock midnight? Okay, let me watch the Classic. Let me watch this. Or I could be watching Alabama at 2:30 live.
I think them boys makes a good point. And that may be true. I think that does. I think as far as like NFL and like to get to the pros, like professional teams watching your film, all right, yeah, they're gonna watch game film. But I still don't think that negates the fact that we need to put ourselves in a position where we're more marketable, where we get that exposure, regardless of anything else, whether that's who you play. Stop looking at them as money games and really just beating good competition. Because like I said, if we have a D2 quarterback being drafted 3rd overall in the NFL draft, and our best quarterback, the SWAC produced, and the Kill Glass can't even get drafted, there's an issue there. Somehow, somewhere, there's an issue there.
I have a question, Kendall. Do you think that if Shedeur would have stayed, take away the name, just look at accolades, stats. Do you think if he stays at Jackson State, and comment section y'all can answers to, do y'all think Shedeur, take away last name, take away my dad is Coach Prime, do y'all think he gets drafted? Answer, I'm asking you too, Kendall.
Probably not.
You don't think so?
Because I think his name is helping. If anything, his name, you can't argue with the play on the field. I'm not saying that. But his name is helping. I don't care what anybody says. One of the biggest reasons why Jackson State was so successful was because Deion Sanders' name was attached to it.
Travis Hunter's not coming without Deion.
And then okay, so let's go on that then. We look at names. If we're looking at names, okay, we got to get more names in here. But we also got to get names that understand, for one, this is a process. And for two, if you're going to make that leap to go to a HBCU, you got to go with it with the good and the bad. And you have to understand and have that in your mind that, yo, this ain't always going to be great. It might get worse before it gets better. But if you say something like be the change, don't run to the change, and then run to the change,
it's hypocritical.
You're just building the stigma that you can't do what you want to do at an HBCU. You have to go to a P5.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the message you're sending.
No more celebrity coaches.
That's the thing. They don't necessarily have to be coaches. They can be like supporters. Because how many people were really supporting players or supporting programs before Deion came? Like outwardly supporting. I'm not talking about like, all right, yeah, we're giving you money and this and that. So it's my whole thing is you have to, if you're going to be a celebrity, use your name. Make this stuff more marketable, because otherwise nothing's going to change.
Kendall, speaking of, let's talk about Mo Williams. When he was with us, you brought this up multiple times. Nobody in the world knew that Mo Williams was at Alabama State in Montgomery while he was there. Until he went to Jackson State with Coach Prime and Coach Tamika Reed and all of them and that celebrity coaching staff they got. Nobody was aware of him. And he didn't market himself. He didn't sell himself in the community. He didn't go on, like how FAMU does, and they got the LeBron James deal. Yeah. There was none of that. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say something that, and you can let me know what you think about the comment section too. We need more celebrity athletes in athletic director roles or on those kind of roles as opposed to coaching. Coaching is one thing. Maybe we even need these celebrity athletes on these SWAC committees, because there's no way we're struggling to negotiate TV deals, get exposure. That's where it starts at. I feel like it starts at the conference. The schools can do what they want to do. You can have all the cameras you want. And I think you need the cameras for sure, like I said earlier. But if the conference, if the commissioner, if the people below him to do all the dirty work aren't doing their roles, it's not going to amount to anything. Think about this, Kendall. How many people at media day did we see at Deion's table last year? It was everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Can we say that can you say for certain that we're gonna have the same amount of people at SWAC Media Day this year that we did last year?
The optimist in me wants to think so, but probably not.
Kendall, ESPN not even gonna be there this year. Not from my knowledge. So think about it.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to disagree with you on that point. I wanted to address a couple of comments real quick. Now, we're talking about recruiting. If all SWAC teams increase the recruiting rankings, eyeballs will follow. Money follows eyeballs. That's true. I do believe that. The more high caliber players that you put on these teams, the more eyeballs you have. I think that'll make a big difference.
ESPN was there last year. Now it wasn't the main ESPN like Lee Corso type stuff, but it was who am I thinking of? Kendall? Is it the guys that we took a picture with? The Black College Game Day. That's what I'm talking about. Black College Game Day.
Yeah. Also, it will be streamed on ESPN.
But ESPN Plus, okay. You're making us pay. You're making us pay to watch our content. When if you're gonna make us pay for our content, and I know this, the technology in some of these media days too is very poor. It could be a lot better. The camera angles, you have one camera angle. The mic, the sound may be on or off. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you ride.
No. Go ahead. I'm
That's
done.
another thing, bro. We gotta make this presentation better. We have to. I don't care what we're talking about, whether what sport we're talking about, or whether it's a media day. We have to make the presentation better. Because we're settling if we don't. Like I can't speak for other schools on this, but I know ASU. Bro, what was the game? What was the game? Kel Jackson went off. Was that the FAMU game?
Yeah.
Dog, I'm sitting here trying to make a highlight tape for him, and all I see is squiggly lines when everything moves. Like every time somebody moves, it's just squiggly lines. Bro, how does that happen?
You talking too loud, Kendall. You talking too loud.
But my whole thing is, I'm talking about the SWAC as a whole, HBCUs as a whole. Presentation gotta be better. If you want people to watch, we gotta get the presentation better. You gotta get people that care about the details, the ins and outs of everything that goes down. Because if you look at regular TV, make it a spectacle. SEC games, they're spectacles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We got the play right here, but we got some drama over here, so we're gonna catch that drama.
Yeah.
You can't do that if you got two or three angles. You can't do that if I can't even see the coach's face. Like, we got to do better. We got to do better than that. And like, those type of things may seem small, but they work to the greater overall plan. And that's what I'm getting at. This whole conversation is gonna take time. But at the end of the day, you got to be willing to make the adjustments on the things that you can control. Control what you can control, and then we'll see what else happens.
And Kendall, I think that people are quick to talk about the fact that the housing on the campus needs to get better. Athletes live the best on the campus. You could be in a whole lot worse places than Montgomery, Alabama. Please believe.
I'll agree with you on that for most of them. Some of them go through some stuff.
Yeah, but you could be in a whole lot worse places than Montgomery, Alabama. Am I wrong? Conversation, am I wrong? It could be a whole lot better places. But I mean, worse places.
Can I get this real quick before you go?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Get it real quick. It takes time to get rid of the lazy people, though, or to build a culture of we're not going to be lazy anymore.
Nobody's held accountable either. That's
what I'm getting at. Like accountability, holding people accountable, not being lazy. That type of stuff takes time to build a culture around. Because at the end of the day, if you just have people going into it saying, all right, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, or I'm just going to do the bare minimum, then that's exactly what you're going to get. That doesn't change with just one person. It doesn't. That's why I'm saying it's going to take time. I don't disagree with you that people are lazy, but I'm just saying that type of thing, building that culture is going to take time.
I hate to say it like this, Kendall, but one thing about that coach, I will give Coach Prime credit for. He saw that the team was 1-11, and he knew there was because we only win one game the whole season. That's dysfunction. That means it's a whole bunch of stuff that shouldn't be in there. If we had more people with that vision, let me clear everything out because it's nothing but bad.
You talking about Colorado, right?
Huh?
You talking about at Colorado, right?
Yeah, when he got it, he did the same thing at Jackson State though. You saw how quick their presentation.
Yeah, but I feel like the more popular one was the Colorado situation. That's why I said that.
Yeah, it definitely was. But you see how as soon as he got in there, their social media went up. They got a higher social media following when he left than some Power 5 teams. They arguably got the best social media team in the world. Shout out to Deion Jr. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that to a certain degree, you have to clean house. You have to. And I don't know if we're willing to make that change.
I would agree with you on that.
It's too many alumni and friends in these places.
I agree with you on that too. It's not seen as a revenue center at most SWAC schools. It's seen as a cost center. When it is a revenue center, it'll be valued more. That's true too. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think for me, my biggest thing is I'm tired of settling.
Mediocre.
Bro, I'm tired of settling. So my whole thing is with this. All right. We have a situation where we have golden opportunities. We have great athletes, some athletes that can bump with P5 with major D1 players. We've seen that. Levante Chanot, when he played UCLA, he could ball. Before he got injured, he balled. Jeremiah Hickson, when he played against UCLA.
Adrian Maddox.
It's comp. At the end of the day, it's comp. I don't care if they win, if they catch every ball. I don't care if they intercept every ball, if they pass the flag, whatever. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's still comp. That's what we're asking for. I feel like that's what's going to knock on the door because I guarantee you, and we saw this. It may be HBCU with HBCU, but you saw it. Think about it when Ezra Gray, when Alabama State first played Jackson State, the first time they played in 2020, I think it was 2021. Ezra went off that game. Deion Sanders himself said that he could ball. They had a whole like scrum with each other after that, where Deion was giving him his props. And Ezra was talking about how much it meant to him, this and that. That's because Ezra balled out. He earned that respect. Deion didn't have that form at first. He earned that respect. It's the same thing, HBCU versus P5. Same exact thing.
Kendall, can I go a little deeper? I might get canceled for this. It's also too many. My brothers, my sisters. It's too many of these. It's too many of that's my brother. I'm hiring my brother. I'm hiring my sister. Stop hiring people who, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a better word for this.
I don't know what word you're looking for, but I would just say stop hiring people based on relationships and hire them based on ability.
The work.
Yeah.
The work. What can you do? What are you going to do for me? Because I can go, Kendall, you're one of my best friends. If I go to a business, if I start a business up right now and I am looking for employees, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just say you're not a great worker. Am I going to hire you? Do you want to hire me or vice versa? Or am I going to go hire the person that I don't know who has the higher work ethic and the better talent?
You're right. I think my thing is you can be cool. You can be cool people. Like we can get along. We can do all of that type of stuff together. But when it comes to producing a product and I know somebody else does it better than you, I'm gonna get that person.
Yeah, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
And that's no disrespect to you. That's no, all right, bro, like we not cool no more. It's the simple fact of I'm trying to put something together that's greater than the both of us.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to do that, I need the best people I can.
Oh wow. And that's something that people take into account though. You know, I think sometimes and it's a great asset to have when you're doing that. It's a beautiful networking opportunity. But some of these people that are your brothers and your sisters, when y'all are, you know, in the same organization, they're not producing what they should. And you could do better. You could do so much better. But you don't want to end that relationship, like Kendall said. It's a business though. We have to stop looking at these opportunities like it's love and it's about being friends and best friends. You don't want to step on toes. Sometimes you gotta cutthroat. You gotta be cutthroat. That's the only way you can get to where you want to be at. Respectfully. No shade to anybody in the D9, but there are some people that are in these organizations that will just play favorites.
I don't disagree. You know, I don't disagree with you.
I ain't gonna deeper than that.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, you definitely finna get canceled.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I feel like my whole thing is you really got to, you have to have people that buy in. And you can't just have people that buy into a mediocre or to a subpar system or culture. You need to change the culture by having people that buy into something better, to something greater. When that happens, then that change starts happening. Then you see, all right, oh, I really like the way this looks, or I really like how y'all presenting this. We want to cover this a little bit more. We want to do this, we want to do that. Like all of that type of stuff, bro. That change, that makes a difference. That changes stuff. I don't care what nobody says. And it's just a matter of sitting back, evaluating not just the product, but evaluating the people that's producing the product and saying, we need to challenge each other. Because if we don't challenge each other, then we just going to keep doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why me and you started this podcast, one of the reasons why we continue to do it is because we challenge each other. You may have something that I don't have. You may have an entertainment factor that I just don't have. But you challenge me more to go out of my comfort zone. You challenge me more to do more with my hands, do more, like make what I'm saying more interesting. And vice versa, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, if you don't have people that challenge each other, if you don't have a competitive culture, but a culture that produces good content, a culture that produces the best way possible for y'all to succeed, you're not going to. Plain and simple. And it's like, you really got to think about the bigger picture too. Okay, NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever, WNBA, they may watch game film. Cool. What about the fans? What about the other people that's around it? One of the ways that some of these players get looks is due to what's around them, not due to some game film. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a prime example. Mikey Williams. For the hype from him a couple of years ago. He's a high school player. He's a high school player, by the way.
Yeah.
And this man has more clout than a lot of HBCU players. Mm-hmm. We not basing this off of, ain't nobody sitting down and watching no high school game like that.
It's YouTube. It's TikTok. It's Instagram. It's just social media.
That's how you build. That's how you build a name for yourself. Whether that's with scouts or whether that's just with fans in general. We talked about finding YouTube clips, or we talked about finding film on players. Those are fans. A lot of those people don't have nothing to do with the team, the organization. Those are just fans putting together compilations. Mm-hmm. You put together the compilations, and they skyrocket. That's it. Like it's a game, and we're failing at the game right now. We're losing the game because we're not investing into what we need to invest in.
Yeah, because a lot of these videographers and editors do this stuff for free. They don't do it for a paycheck because they don't work for the school. They're just doing it for fun on their own platform.
And that, bro, that's exactly what I'm saying. Literally, mixtape, hoop tape, whatever. These people are producing this stuff. And it's like, yo, you looking at high school players coming out that has more clout, that has more views, more eyeballs on them than HBCU players in college right now. And it's not based on game film.
Yeah.
It's based on highlights. It's based on persona. It's based on everything else.
You're talking too loud, Kendall. I'm talking too loud.
That ain't got nothing to do with actual game film where I'm sitting down and I'm watching a full 40, a full 60, whatever game of them playing.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, plain as day.
Real quick, and we'll get back to the topic too. We also have memberships. If you want to donate to the channel, there's a donation thing at the bottom somewhere. I'm not sure, but click to the bottom and donate to the channel so we can keep growing and expanding this product for you guys. But yeah, Kendall, you're right. It's all about exposure, social media, growing that side of things. I don't think that we have enough people. We have to approach it as a business. Overtime is a business. Yeah, we have to approach it as a business, but a lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of HBCUs do not. I'm not gonna say that. Sometimes we're cheap. We're cheap and we settle for. Would you rather settle for comfortability, or settle for excellence? I feel like a lot of times we settle toward the other, being comfortable, being around people that we like, being around people that we know we can mingle with, as opposed to would you rather be in a building where people don't know you, but you're still getting an excellent job done, or people that you know and you're all right, you're decent.
I agree with you. I would say one thing, and we just kind of talked about it already. Building personas.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that me and you said that we definitely want to do a lot more of is really showing who these athletes are as people. You see sports in general. Sports is built off of storytelling. Sports is built off of overcoming adversity, off of tragedy, and overcoming that. That's what sports is. That's one of the reasons why people fall in love with players. I don't know if everybody would look at LeBron the same way if his mom wasn't a single mother, and the way that he grew up and how he just overcame all of that. I don't know if people look at certain athletes and say, I really like this player. I'm really in love with how this player has overcome this or that, if you don't know about the adversity that they face on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. Like when we talk about building this up, you really gotta pay attention to what's going on, not just in the program as a whole, but also with the athletes too. Like each individual athlete, trust and believe they got some stuff going on. We've seen some players have really, really serious injuries. Morgan O'Neal, the track runner. And what did she do?
Took it to Instagram.
She put it on Instagram. She rehabbed. She did all of this stuff, and nobody knew about it.
Yep.
And so when you see her running, you just think, okay, that's an athlete. Or we talk about football. You just look football or basketball or baseball. You just look at those players as a name on a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know they could be walking around in somewhere else, and they just be a regular person to you. You wouldn't know them from somebody else. So it's like, bro, we gotta start thinking of more creative ways to present this content. And me and you, we've had a lot of conversations about that. And trust, we are definitely going to be doing that. And it's just like, bro, we cannot keep sitting here and letting these athletes, these players think that, yo, I'm not going to make it. I'm not even going to get noticed. I'm not going to do none of this where I want to at this HBCU. It's just not going to happen.
Let me add to that. You know what storylines and marketing leads to?
Mm-hmm. Money.
NIL. NIL.
You right.
You don't think that somebody would have loved to have had, let's say, Isaiah Reigns would have loved to, if he comes back next season, which he will, and he comes back and balls. You don't think somebody wants that story or once that marketing behind their company, you know how much money he would make off of that? More money than he's making right now just from the school.
Mm-hmm.
It would be twice that. You don't know where that could go. That storyline could make national news. National news. Not WSFA, not Fox 6. National news. CNN, stuff like that. You see how quick they highlight the negative stuff though, right? See how quick the rap video from FAMU went out though, right?
Bro, come on now.
How quick that went out though, right?
Yeah.
But what about the other stories? But as soon as Coach Robinson and Coach Prime get into a little scuffle, quote unquote, shout out to Coach Robinson. Now we want to publicize it. Now we want to take it to ESPN. Now you got folks like Stephen A. Smith mispronouncing the name because you just saw the storyline. You didn't read the facts. You talking about Coach Robinson is the coach is related to Coach Robinson at Grambling State, and you don't even know. You don't pay attention to that. You're just looking at the two black men fighting at the HBCU.
Let me hop on. Let me hop on this, bro.
Okay,
we talked about I've written a couple of different articles about Deion Sanders and how he's talked about, or his family in general, how they've talked about HBCUs. What his daughter said last year about Jackson State. It's a lot of murders there. It's a lot of murders there, a lot of crime, all of this and all of that. Yo. And you're generalizing it for a public that doesn't know about it. And they're taking what you're saying as facts because you have Deion Sanders' last name. And everything that you said pretty much was a lie.
Yeah.
But you give a piss poor apology after the fact, after you get in the backlash, but you don't even really care.
But Kendall, you hear the difference between the way Deion, the way Shador and Shiloh speak about HBCUs and the way that Deion and his people speak about it. It's too, I don't know which side they grew up on, but I think you can't tell me that leaving Jackson State, and it's not what the episode is about, but leaving Jackson State didn't hurt them mentally, physically, emotionally.
One of the things I think they did that not a lot of players that have the ability that they do, they bought into the culture of the school. Not just, all right, I'm here to play football, I'm here to play QB, I'm here to play 11 games and disassociate from the school after that. Before and after. I'm not here to pull a Mo Williams and not associate with the school at all, but really, really want to be here when you're hiring me. And then when I'm here 2 years, coast. I don't care. I may not be the most famous NBA player, but I got some clout in my name at least.
Mm-hmm.
I played with Braun at least. I did this, I did that at least. But ain't nobody, don't nobody really know that.
You telling me that Mo Williams couldn't get us some type of connection with LeBron? Some FAMU has a whole deal, and they have nothing to do with LeBron.
I'm not even asking for the top of the top. I'm not asking for all of that. I'm just asking for you to actually be here and want to be here. Be here and not feel like it's a 2-year stint. Not feel like it's a JUCO. Like actually buy into what we got here. If you're not going to do that, then why are you here?
But that's why that's also why HBCUs end up recycling coaches. That's why we always hire within house. You know what I'm saying? I don't think. Oh yeah, I saw that. It's because he has some of his language and some of the stuff he posts is not going to be accepted at Colorado like it would Jackson State. But that goes back to what Kendall said, like culture. You can't carry yourself to the code switching, Kendall. The code switching. You have to code switch. You can't go into Colorado thinking that the same thing, like Coach Prime was trying to get the Colorado band to play like Jackson State's band. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be a Madison Classic, whatever other classic you want to name. It's not gonna be that. That's not what the environment's gonna be. No, once you left Jackson State, you should have known what you were stepping yourself into. If you want to do what you want to do at Jackson State, and they're going to accept it, you can go, challenge the authority. You can't challenge the authority just because you're Deion Sanders at a Power 5. You can't do that. You can say Jackson State and the SWAC let Deion do just about whatever he wanted to. Kendall, am I wrong? Conversation, am I wrong?
You're wrong. You're not wrong.
He called out the president of the school. Do you think Colorado was going to do that, Kendall? You think they're going to be fine with him challenging the president of their school? Oh, you ain't giving us enough money. You taking our money. He said that Jackson State was stealing from him. Could you imagine if he said that to Colorado? Do you realize how quick he would be canceled? The big truck. Kendall, they would take the credits from that man. They would take the crutches from that man.
Hey, man, make sure y'all like and comment, share the stream, man, because we talking some truth right now. I'm not going to lie. This got a lot deeper than what I expected it to be, but we talking truth right now. So make sure y'all show us some love.
We need some more.
So I think going back to one of the original questions that we had at first, is there a way to change the negative stereotypes around HBCU sports? I think the first thing to do is to pay attention to the little things. You may not have the best team, you may not have the best coaching staff, you may not have the best this and the best that, but you can have the best presentation. You may not be able to control how the team plays, but you can control how the game looks. So let's work on the presentation. You may have a player on your team with a great story. Invest in that story. You may look at your whatever school you have, whatever program you have. You may look at the program and say, "Hey, this isn't it. This isn't where we want to be at in order for us to be what we want to be." We've talked about Jackson State a lot in this video, and I feel like it's because they've done a lot of things great, and Deion as a whole, Deion the person, didn't do some things great. One of the things that Jackson State did a masterful job of was presentation and presenting themselves to the mainstream media. I don't know if everybody remembers, but every Saturday Jackson State played, they were trending somewhere. For some of the teams that they played, that was the only time that people actually got to see their game.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they weren't playing on national television, people had the eyes on them. Especially that first year that they played, Jackson State was the team to watch because everybody wanted to see when was Deion and Jackson State going to lose their first game. I'm going to say this as somebody that was there for both games. The first time we played Jackson State and homecoming last year, they're comparable in hypeness. They're comparable in how up for the game the players and the crowd was for that game. There's a reason for that. So, and this shouldn't be the case. This shouldn't be the case. This should not be the case, but it was. It shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
So my whole thing with this is, and I talk about this a lot, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna let you go. You have to want more out of your product with whatever. If I'm a consumer, and I've looked at some streams of some HBCU games, and the stuff has been too bright. Like I can't even see the players. I can't hear anything. I can't.
Sometimes you can't see anything because
the camera's not moving the way it needs to. And you're sitting there like, bro, what's going on?
Kendall, the touchdown going, the player running this way to the end zone,
and we looking this way. We looking at the fans. We looking at the fans, and the fans looking at us. So, bro, something got to change. Something got to change. And it's all about paying attention to detail. And I'm gonna be honest, that right there, what we just talked about, that ain't got nothing to do with recruiting. That ain't got nothing to do with the product on the field. That got everything to do with everything that you can control.
Yeah.
What's one of the reasons why people look at NBA games or NFL games? To hear a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
To hear what this dude going to say. This dude may not be the best at calling games.
Kendall, did you see Mississippi Valley's basketball commentators this year? Did you see when people saw them commentating the energy? People, you can't tell me there weren't people that were watching Mississippi Valley just to hear them. Could care less about the game. I can care less about the game, but the people commentating, the entertainment value, that matters too. There's no Kendall. I say it all the time. There's no vision. Where is the vision? Where is you can't people? I feel like people are so stuck in the right now. Okay, we want to when you win a SWAC championship, Kendall, that shouldn't be the best accomplishment of your season. For the athletic, for the sport that they won a SWAC championship, yes. But for the athletic department, okay, we have a winning team, we have a winning program. Let's invest in them. Yep. Let's give them something. To give them an incentive to keep improving. Because if I'm a high school athlete and I see, okay, I'm coming here to play softball. We got a jumbotron. Okay, we won a SWAC championship. Oh, we got new jerseys. Did you see how many Jackson State football players were happy just because they got their last name on the back of their jersey? Did you hear how big of a deal that was? How many?
That's a recruiting tool.
Drew Cookman played in 6 different helmets this year. 6. The only reason you need a helmet change to Alabama is if it breaks. That's it. You have to invest in these programs. There's not enough investment. We invest in everything else that was important. We will fix everything that doesn't need to be changed, except what needs to be changed. Kendall, if my floor is caved in, why am I about to go fix the roof? If I got a plumbing issue, why am I about to go put some new furniture in my house?
Everything but the problem, basically.
Yes.
You're right.
It's frustrating. And as alumni, you have to do a better job at holding these people in these positions accountable. Because I'm sure there's alumni on these board of trustees that can say what needs to be changed. You got the money, make it happen before you make these hires.
And I would agree. When we talk about alumni, obviously we're not talking about everybody. Because there are some alumni that do a really great job at not only promoting their school but also fighting for their school. Because at the end of the day, we're all HBCUs. We may have some rivalries here, some rivalries there, but at the end of the day, we're all a collective. All of those negative stereotypes, they all get thrown at all of us, or they get thrown at all of us. It's not just okay, Alabama State don't got this, or FAMU don't got this, or Mississippi Valley ain't this, or whatever. It's all of us. I mean, Jackson State was at the top of the world for a couple of years, and people were still bad mouthing them. So it's like, in order to change negative stereotypes, you gotta pump so much positive content to counter it. And I think that's a call. I kind of feel like a preacher calling to an altar, but that's a call. Like, you gotta, if you want your HBCU to improve, you got to put people in position in order for it to improve. Like, just because, I mean, me and you, like, this doesn't come from someone else. Like, there isn't somebody else telling us, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that, you need to have a passion for this, you need to have, nah, it's just us. One of the things that I feel like makes us work is one of the things I feel like that makes us work is the passion. We both got a passion to do this. This ain't something that we just doing for show and done with at the end.
Yeah.
It's something that we love to do. And y'all will see that love, y'all will see that care that we put into this next year.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is, it can't just be us. It can't just be Swagging the Fool. It can't just be Blue Blood. It can't just be those content creators doing their jobs. It has to be other people as well. Because that's the only way that you get real change to last, is by affecting the programs themselves.
And you know something that really kind of pissed me off too as well? When Dion left, no. It wasn't Dion that said this. It was somebody that I think it may have been Shannon Sharp. They said, Dion gave y'all the blueprint, just follow it.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you the blueprint on social media,
mm-hmm.
right? He gave you the blueprint on investing in your team. But it's only one Deion Sanders out there.
True. And
you're not going to be able to hire a celebrity coach at every opportunity, because we have celebrity coaches, Eddie George, Hugh Jackson, who don't have that personality like Deion.
I would say, yeah, I would say the personality means more than the actual person themselves, I think.
Yes.
Because
Coach Mayer at A&M, that's the funniest dude in the swag.
You're not wrong. Like he is one of the best characters in the swag. But yet nobody would know that because nobody pays attention to it. And it's tough because it's like, yo, you got all of this talent. You have a lot of what other conferences have, but you just get tagged. Okay, you're an HBCU. You get that negative tag. You get that negative stamp on you from the moment that you present yourself as an HBCU. All right, they ain't with it automatically.
He definitely come to social media. I didn't know he didn't have one. That's the funniest dude. It's like
I didn't either. Because, bro, Coach Bean.
Yeah.
That's a funny Coach Bean, the head track coach for Alabama State. That's a funny dude. Hilarious.
Kendall, I feel like when you accept these jobs, I'm not saying you got to be the most entertaining of persons. I'm not saying you got to have this huge personality. Because, like I said, there's only one Deion Sanders. Just like there's only one LeBron James, there's only one Steph Curry. But you can be you and still flourish. I feel like marketing comes with the job of coaching.
For sure.
Show up in the community. Show up at every event. And don't just show up within the community. Show up on a national level. When we see you out in public, I should see you with ASU gear on, JSU gear on. Dion wore that JSU hat on once he got hired, Kendall, he wore it on every platform he went on. So did Hugh Jackson.
I think also, I think it's because there are coaches that do that it's just not a whole lot of media attention around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would also say having a coach or just having a media staff understand he needs to be promoted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or she needs to get spotlight here. Because, and I'm gonna be completely honest, we have some amazing coaches at Alabama State University.
Plenty players too.
We have some amazing personalities at Alabama State University. And we did a documentary on a few of them. We got some interviews lined up for them. But when you look at these people, Penny Lucas White, Richie Bean, that have the pedigree too. That's the thing we're talking about. Freedom Freeman that have the pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say, "Oh, we're not worried about them because they're not winning." Coach Bean, one of the winningest coaches in the NCAA. Not just a SWAC, not just HBCU. Take all of that off in the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Penny Lucas White, her team is tough. Her team's going to be tough every year, no matter who's on the squad.
Hey Kendall, you're missing the big name. How about Tamika Reed at Jackson State?
And I'm not going cap. They've been doing a little bit better with her. Like when they was winning, like, and it was like basketball season, they played who they play, LSU or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, more eyes on her, sure. But yo, it's these personalities. These personalities gonna sell. If Nick Saban don't have the whatever kind of personality you want to call Nick Saban, if he didn't have that, he wouldn't be Nick Saban. He'd be a great recruiter. He would get great guys, this and that. But wouldn't nobody be trying to hear him?
Yeah.
Same thing with Bill Belichick in the NFL. If you want to go pro, Greg Popovich, like they have these. Even if they have these weird demeanors, people still want to hear from them.
And Kendall, when you said players, I was thinking of one player only. I ain't gonna say his name, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you said players with personalities, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about the battery pack.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Big double A. Anyway.
I ain't gonna say that, bro.
Yeah, keep it stay focused. That could be a whole other episode. But yeah, we have to do a better job. Yeah, select a reality show. No, I don't want that. I don't because
I needed to be something that's positive though.
Yeah,
I don't need it to be something that's what was the one called, bro? The one that we just had at our school.
College Hill.
I don't need nothing where they got to put on the screen. This fight was blurted out because Alabama State University did not want it shown on their. Bro, I don't want that. If that was the case, why you even put it? Why, we didn't. If you would have told us that was going to happen, we wouldn't even put it on. We wouldn't even agree to it. So it's one of those things where, bro, I really do believe that there are better ways. We can go through all of the questions real quick because there are better ways to approach this. We didn't actually talk about this one. We could talk about that one too. How do you make HBCUs more attractive for top players? Exposure or up the exposure so that they don't got to be on Sports Center. They don't got to make this highlight, that highlight, whatever. Do what you can do. Start out small. Make a highlight tape for your best player. Make it easier to watch your team play. Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. The HBCU Sports Go is not it right now. It's not doing enough, in my opinion. And can you know one other thing that because we experienced this back in 2021 when we were covering the sports. Sometimes we have to pay to watch the games for other HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I think that Grambling has a pay. Somebody, I can't remember exactly who. Maybe it was fam. You have to pay to watch their games.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making your people pay? I mean, I know it's your revenue. I get it. But if you no, Kendall, listen. I'm not saying you shouldn't charge your people. I don't believe in that. But if you're gonna charge me to watch you pay, and the camera is this way and that way, and I can get better quality recording the iPhone 14.
Shoot, an iPhone 6 at this point.
Kendall, an iPod Touch.
Make it worth my while.
If I'm gonna pay $5.99 a month or whatever the case may be, I need some good quality. ESPN Plus is gonna give you good quality no matter what.
Yeah, like legit, you're not lying at all. Because that's one of my biggest pet peeves. When we look at certain games, and we gotta watch the whole game too. And this ain't just no regular Tuesday game with whoever versus whoever. It's not one of them games. This is a SWAC championship game and everything green. Mm-hmm. And you don't know that it's different until you in the stadium or in the arena and you see this arena is full of color. Why does it look green on TV?
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay. You got something else to say, or you want to go to the next question? Next question to knock that one out now.
We go to the next question.
All right, bro. I'm hungry. My food been looking at me for the longest time, bro.
I feel it.
All right. Is there a way to change the negative stereotypes around HBCUs?
Put out positive content.
Pumping the positive content. Not just something here and there. Pumping that positive content. It may not reach the trolls on Twitter. It may not reach the people with the anime profile picture that say this and say that you don't know what they look like. You don't know if they actually an alien. You don't know what they are. They could be a goat, a cow, whatever, and you just never know. It may not reach them, but trust and believe it's gonna make a difference. It may not make a difference today. It may not make a difference tomorrow. But trust, it's gonna make a difference.
Just have a camera record every moment. I got an SD card for a reason. I cut the irrelevant stuff out. Just record everything that goes on. People want to see behind the scenes stuff. On the field is great. That's amazing. That's the most important part. What goes into, let me get a storyline about a day in the life. Shout out to Young Roll, Stephon Young Roll, a day in the life of HBCU athlete. Let me see your workout regime. Let me see how you prepare for a game. Let me see the on the field. Let me get a mic'd up. Fam, you did one mic up this year with a cheerleader, Kendall.
Mm-hmm.
A cheerleader. Not an athlete. Well, cheerleaders are athletes too. But not an actual football player or basketball player. A cheerleader. It made ESPN. It blew up.
And also, it don't have to be the stuff that we talked about Young World just now. It don't. I mean, you have some creative student athletes, but it don't have to be them. Like, you can tell other stories from student athletes that's not that creative.
Kendall, you can talk about the trainers.
Literally.
Anything.
I guarantee you. Ask anybody outside of the athletes themselves to name their trainers right now. Guarantee you nobody can.
Nobody.
Dog, I've been covering Alabama State University sports for 3 years now. I walked into the tennis. I forgot what the name is called. It's been a while since I've been on camp. Huh?
Tennis court?
Yeah, but the building before you get to the actual tennis court. Okay. I walked in there. I saw a trainer, and I didn't know she was a trainer. I had no idea because I had never actually seen the trainers before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, because it's content that can be made everywhere. Bro, I guarantee you. Think about it this way. Say, the Club Shay Shay. When Dion was on it and he was getting his foot massaged or whatever.
Yeah, and they were joking back and forth.
Yeah. That trainer could have said something funny and that could have blew up. That's a meme right there. It's quick, but it's not rocket science. No. It's simple. It's
genuine. It's genuine.
Authenticity goes a long way. It does.
Yeah. The stuff that you may not think is funny to a random viewer on a Tuesday night or a midnight, whatever the case may be, it may be hilarious. And you never know. Kendall, we didn't think our post for Coach Robinson. That's a big example right there. The Coach Robinson, I'm swag. He ain't swag. That's our whole platform, Kendall. That's literally the Kendall. That made millions.
You're right.
We made money off of that.
And the thing about that one, that's one of my proudest achievements. But the sad part about it is it wasn't a positive thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That fed into the narrative of Deion Sanders versus Eddie Robinson, and it's still something that they both, Coach Robinson more than Deion at this point, still get asked about to this day. And it sucks because that fed into the media fetish of negative HBCU talk. But at the end of the day, it's content. So my whole thing is, you think about that, you produce more positive content that brings somebody here. That brings somebody to our page. That brings somebody.
To be honest with you, I think I heard an interview Coach Robinson said it the other day. He said, all publicity is good publicity at this point. I mean, and I can agree with this. I can agree with this to a certain extent.
I can agree with you on that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't positive. I mean, I will say this: more people know Coach Robinson is now.
That's true. Very true.
Prior to that, though, if we would have made a storyline about when Coach Robinson was hired, hey, he was this, he was that, he was the swag, he made the NFL play in the Super Bowl. Now, when he says he ain't swag, I'm swag, it's a different narrative. See, people just thought Coach Robinson was just this random Joe off the street who got hired and back and forth with Deion, and now you got us looking crazy and you're not telling the full complex story.
But you also got to think about it. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as big as if he was there, but I don't really care if Deion there or not. Jackson State versus Alabama State for Jackson State homecoming is still going to be a big game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For whatever, for good or for bad, it's still going to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to be a game that everybody tunes into. So yeah, on that front, I do agree with you. I understand now. I definitely agree with that for sure.
Yeah. Any more questions we got here?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Make sure
Stomach
y'all
doing all of that, man. Come on now.
make sure y'all like the comments. I mean, like the thing, share,
The stream,
subscribe,
bro.
the stream, like the thing, stream, same thing. Donate. We got some donations now. It's no excuses. I see y'all comments talking about some how do we donate to the channel? It's 22 people in here. I should see $2,200. I'm just playing. We should see some money though. We would appreciate some money, so we can increase our product for you guys. We want to get to the point where we can do call-ins and we can hear some of the outrageous takes that some of y'all have, or some of the great takes some of y'all have. And Kendall can argue with you. I can argue with you. It's just gonna be a great season.
Or we could just have conversation too.
Or we just have a conversation. Anything else you got, Kendall? Give about 2 more minutes, maybe a minute or so, minute and a half.
Nah, man, I'm just looking forward to making more content. We got a really
we got some funny stuff.
Yeah, we got some funny stuff for y'all soon. So I'm just looking forward to that. We appreciate all of the support, whether that's likes, whether that's retweets or reposts or whatever, subscriptions. We appreciate it all. We appreciate y'all coming in here and talking to us. Because y'all definitely make this stream what it is. Y'all definitely make these lives what they are. And y'all add a lot to it. So, we're definitely looking forward to continuing a lot of different topics, not just this one, but for sure, we definitely appreciate the love.
Let us know what topics you want to see too. So, but like Kendall said, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, Wildcard2K, Twitter, Wildcard2K. Follow me and Kendall at our all. You can donate on YouTube. There should be a donation button if you slide, whatever. I don't know what it looks like. But also, you got the Cash App at Wildcard2K if you want to donate. Or you can hit us on Twitter. We'll do that for you.
Yeah, if y'all can't donate right now, just save a couple dollars. Save a couple dollars for.
We broke college students. We won't do it.
Broke Negro funds. So save a couple. Yeah,
Yeah, Cash App is scrolling too. Yeah.
We appreciate y'all though for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Kendall, I'm gonna let you go ahead and eat, and I don't know what our next episode is gonna be. We're gonna have some shorts for y'all coming up. Some shorts coming soon.
Yeah, we got some good stuff for y'all coming.
For sure. But appreciate y'all. All love. Have a great evening. Be safe. Stay love.
Yeah. God bless.
God bless.